Hello people of the world, and welcome to today's episode of Coffee Chats with Jax. The major theme of last year was me really running. And I think that I've done that a lot in my life of kind of like, if I get uncomfortable in one situation, I want to run to the next one. If I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, I want to avoid it. And so I want to keep moving forward and keep things exciting and loud so that I don't have to deal with hard feelings. You see, I packed up my bags July 5th last year with the intention of just going on a big summer road trip and then going on tour and then coming back to Nashville. But what ended up happening was I moved to Boston at the end of that tour instead of going back to Nashville. Part of me moving to Boston was because I got this really cool job opportunity and it seemed really awesome and exciting. But another part of me moved to Boston because I was running away from Nashville, running away from some pain and some stagnant things that I didn't know what to do with in Nashville, and I was scared that if I went back, I would have to really deal with stuff, and I would have to sit in a place long enough to be uncomfortable, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep the adventure going. So I went into Boston, which was probably the most impulsive decision I had ever made. I literally said yes to this opportunity on a 3 days notice and flew from our last show in San Francisco to Boston and just started my new life. I didn't even go back to Nashville to get my stuff. If any of you guys have been following me since then, you'll probably remember me making some videos about that. I spent 3 months in Boston, and those 3 months were probably some of the hardest 3 months of my entire life. I've mentioned before in these videos that I struggle with depression, which is really ironic because I'm the happy girl that always wants to have a smile on her face and always wants to be doing cool things and telling exciting stories. I believe I developed depression at 17 years old from some stuff that happened to me back then. But back then, the depression made sense because I had just been through some really traumatic things. Ever since then, depression kind of comes in and out of my life. And in Boston, it was the darkest, most consistent, depressed state that I had been in probably since I was 17. And I was in such an avoidance of it because I thought, I just moved to this great, cool new city. I have this really awesome new job. I should be really happy. I just got off the best summer tour. I should be so happy right now, but why do I feel like the walls are caving in? A little peek into my brain when I'm in that kind of depressed state is that I pretty much feel like I am all alone in the world. I do not belong anywhere. Nobody cares. Nobody will ever love me. I am worthless. There is literally no hope at all. I should just give up. I should just be done right now. To be really honest, there's a lot of thoughts about life being easier if I was not here. And like maybe that car will hit me, maybe I'll have some kind of fatal disease. It feels like life is this trap and I'm stuck and there's no way out. And I feel all alone in the world. That's the key of it all, is isolation. I felt so isolated. For the majority of my time in Boston, I was feeling those things. Like I was feeling so depressed and so alone. And I didn't know how to get out of it, but I was in this big denial of it. I wouldn't tell anyone. I even just watched some of my old YouTube videos from being in Boston, knowing that I was making these exciting videos talking about hope and talking about change and trying to even just convince myself that I was okay. And I remember making those videos, posting them on YouTube, and then going home and crying because I felt so alone and I didn't want anyone to know. I watch these videos and I can see the pain in my eyes. I can see how sad and scared I was, but I wouldn't tell anybody. Like I ignored phone calls from really good friends. I avoided conversations with people that I knew would be able to see through it. I can't really tell you why I wanted to avoid it so much. I think maybe I was scared of it. I think I was maybe scared of being a burden on someone else. I'm afraid that my problems are too much for someone else to bear. And then if I tell someone my problems, they'll leave. Yeah, that's been like my fear for my whole life. And so I was really scared to open up. I was really scared to be honest. So I just hid. I stayed hidden by myself. And what happened was I stopped eating. I stopped eating food. I also, since I was around maybe 18 years old, I have this on and off pattern of an eating disorder where I pretty much just don't eat like anything. Not eating food ties into your hormonal system to make you feel depressed. So I'm sitting there already like feeling like this lower than low, and then I'm not eating any food, and so I was just spiraling down and down and down, and I was so insecure about my impulsive decision to move there, and I wanted everything to be okay so badly that I was lying to myself about it, and I was so scared of opening up enough to someone for them to leave. I was scared of being vulnerable, which is so ironic because I preach vulnerability on the internet every day. I talk about it in friendships and in books and on social media every day, but during my time in Boston, I was scared. Depression is a real thing, and it's sad because those of us who like to wear a big smile and a big mask to avoid it, I get scared to talk about it because I think people will think I'm absolutely insane. People will look at me and see how happy I always look and think, you can't possibly struggle with depression. You are crazy. They're not everyday consistent to the bone like they were in Boston or like when I was 17, but they come in and out, and when they're here, the best thing that I could ever do is to tell somebody. So I've been trying to get in the habit of, when that happens, reaching out to someone, whether that's my sister or whether that's like a really close friend. It doesn't have to be to everybody when I'm having those moments, but just someone in the group knowing what's going on has always been really helpful for me. And so if any of you out there have ever struggled with depression or have ever struggled with feeling hopeless or alone or anything that I've been talking about, hiding it is not going to help. It's just going to make it worse. And if I learned anything from hiding all that for 3 months in Boston, it's that is not how it works. It's just going to make it go lower and lower and worse and worse. And once you face it head on and deal with it, it's scary and it's tough. And sometimes there's a little middle period where it's not so much fun, but it's worth it on the other side because there's so much life on the other side. Yeah, so thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, if you would like to purchase a copy of my book, Be Free, which is a memoir about my journey overcoming shame, depression, and stepping into a life of freedom, then click the link in the description box below or send me a message if you would like a personalized copy. Also, if you want to join my Patreon page to support me and get more involved in what I'm doing, there's a link to that below as well. That is where you can read the prologue of my book, Finding Home, potentially get a handwritten letter from me in the mail, and so many things. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.